Hey everybody, I want to show you this really cool kind of a collector's item of a little piece that I have. This is from the 1950s, and what this is, I'm going to give you a little walkthrough first. See, there's a slot for a nickel, and you can take that out if you want. And for some of you who say, Nick, you just put the nickel in there. It's not what it's for. It actually says, gotta get this right here. Come on. This is the most important part. You have to see. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this, guys. Oh, for the love of St. Anthony's left ear. This is just ridiculous. I just can't seem to get this in focus for you guys. You're going to have to trust me. It says, insert nickel here. That's what I wanted to show you, the text that's been molded onto the unit itself. It says, insert nickel here. Now, what this is it's this fun little game that you can play. If you may have noticed, it says Calumet Garage, Elmer and Beck, right there, on the top there. And at the bottom it says Ford Cars and Trucks, Chesterton, Indiana. It's got that little slot on there. Now, what I believe this to be is just a creative little game that was thought up by this garage, Calumet Garage. You take your vehicle there, and while they're working on it, you can get this little device. And if you're there with a friend, you can spin it, and if you notice, it has all of the positions of a clock. You see that? So you can swing it over to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and so on. So if you're there with a friend, you can play this fun little game to pass the time while your car is repaired. So, say I'm sitting here in the waiting room, you know, an hour's gone by, I'm getting pretty sick of it. I've gone through about 4 or 5 cups of coffee. I'm shaking a little bit. I just want to get the hell out of there, to be quite frank. And it's just a little game that you can play with a friend or with yourself. What you simply do, if you're playing with a friend, you can actually use the quarter, the nickel, which is a little more fun and exciting, I guess. It's more of a, like a betting game that you might play at a casino, perhaps. Anyway, you're sitting there with a friend, and you go, hey, you want to play the little game that they made for us? And then your friend hopefully will say, yeah, it's a winner, hit or miss, really. So what you do is your friend has knowledge of the correct time. If they don't have a clock in the shop, he'll actually go up to the counter and whisper into the clerk's ear and say, hey man, what time is it? And then the clerk will check his time. Back then there were no cell phones in the 50s, so the clerk might go in the back, check the time, come back, and then he would get ready to say it out loud, but you would say to the clerk, no, don't tell me, whisper it in my ear because my friend can't know. So the clerk whispers the correct time into your ear. Did I say this right? I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. So anyway, he comes back, you come back, and you sit down in your seat. You know the correct time. Your friend doesn't. So you hand this thing to your friend, and then you go. You don't have to start with a nickel in there. you hand this thing to your friend, and you say, guess what time it is? So you know what time it is, but your friend doesn't. So you pass this thing over to your friend, and you say, hey, Ernie, why don't you spin this dial and put it on what time you think it is? And if you notice, there's an hour hand only. There is no minute hand. And that just kind of adds another little fun spin, get it? Spin on the game. You know what I'm saying? So if your friend believes it to be 1:30, after you hand this to him, he would kind of just spin it to 1:30 there, indicating, like, you know, that's 1 o'clock, 30 after 1, you know? And you can kind of set different minimums and ranges. So, you know, then you can be like, all right, I'm going to bet a nickel on it. If you are within 1 hour of the correct time, you can win this nickel. So then you can, you know, and at this point, all the other people who are waiting around in the car shop, in the waiting room, will most likely gather around, and they'll be kind of cheering you on and spitting out little suggestions like, you know, oh, it's 2:30, you know, I'm betting 15 after 2, you know, and everybody's kind of chiming in, and it's just kind of a fun little thing, right? So at this point, you know, people might be standing up and they might be really eager to see what's going on. You whip out that nickel, you slap it in, and as soon as you hear this, that's when you know, game on, baby. Everybody's like on their edge of their seat. The time's passing by, you know. So you give this thing to your friend Ernie, and he's like, he's trying to just think, what time is it, you know? And then he's like, you know, we got here. I think we got here at 2 o'clock. And you know, he's trying to reason everything. I got up at 10 a.m. this morning. I had breakfast, and then I got the problem with the car. I took it here, and no. It was 2. Yeah. I got in here at maybe 1:15. I've been sitting here. So, you know, so on. He's trying to figure it out. So 1:15, and he's like, you know, I've been sitting here for about 45 minutes. So that would put you on, you know, about 2 o'clock. If he got in at 1, and he had been sitting there for, he got there at 1:15, and he's been sitting there for 45 minutes. That puts him on about 2 o'clock. So Ernie will spin that little dial, and you know, it's sitting on 2. And then if Ernie is thinking that he's right, of course, at this point, you know, there's going to be a lot of people in the audience. Everybody else sitting around the waiting room are going to be objecting and saying, "No, are you stupid? You know, it's not 2 o'clock. We've been sitting here for 4 hours." And then he, you know, his heart starts racing a little bit. He's like, "Oh man, I don't know. I think it's 2 o'clock." So at this point, you know what time it is because you had the clerk tell it in your ear. So he hands it back to you and says, "Final." At this point, people are standing up and cheering and what have you. And then you look at this thing, and then you confirm that with the clerk. You look at the clerk, you go, 2? And then he'll look back and be like, 2:05. And at that point, Ernie was close enough to where, depending on what minimums and ranges you set, if he's in range, he wins that nickel. Everybody stands up and everybody's cheering. And then that is, you know, you play a few more rounds. You know, next it's his turn to go up and get the time from the clerk. You don't know the time. You're spinning the dial. Everybody's cheering. And before you know it, the time's passed. Your car's fixed. And you're out of there. And this is just a beautiful way of passing the time. This is just a little Calumet Garage Elmer E. Beck game with the nickel there that you can play, and I wish they'd bring things like this back. Now that cell phones are a thing, beautiful little you know, time passers like these that engage you with friends and family and strangers for that matter. That's the beautiful thing. You can get engaged with strangers. You know, that doesn't happen anymore. We're too, you know, in depth and stuck in our screens here like this. Yeah. So, thanks for watching, and let's try to bring these things back.